the summertime, Kristen and I enjoy kayaking on the creeks in the area. Occasionally we'd go out on the Conde de Gwinnett. An interesting thing about this creek is that there are a few places where apparently people enjoy hitting golf balls into the creek. It would be common for us to see several balls laying at the bottom of the creek as we paddled along. A few years ago, though, while we were out, in addition to seeing golf balls, I spotted a club. Yes, a golf club in the water. Now, it's just an assumption on my part, but in my mind's eye, I can envision a scene where someone is hitting golf balls and they are doing so badly that in frustration, they simply throw the club and walk away. Last week I mentioned that I got my amazing worrying skills from my father. He also passed on to me his inability to golf. So when I saw the club in the water, it made perfect sense to me. There have been many times when I have wanted to simply throw my club, partly in frustration, partly because I feel I could be much more accurate throwing clubs than hitting golf balls. My father's golfing frustration led him in a different direction, though. He traded his clubs for a used shotgun, gave up golfing, took up hunting. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not promoting being a quitter, but to quote Clint Eastwood, a man's got to know his limitations. I'm very thankful for my father's decision to move away from golf and to pursue hunting. He taught me to hunt, and while I'm not world's greatest hunter, I'm much better at it than golf. But it's so much more than just that. Everyone's different. We all have different passions, skills, and abilities. Rather than trying to do something that he wasn't good at, my father simply tried a variety of things until he found something that he enjoyed. Paul wrote that the body has many different parts, not just one part. He said that if the ear says, I am not a part of the body because I'm not an eye, would it stop being a part of the body? If the whole body were an eye, how would you hear? Paul uses the illustration of body parts to talk about the different people in the church. We all have different talents, abilities, passions, and we need to steward our own rather than coveting someone else's. Now, I believe wholeheartedly that Paul wants people to use their spiritual gifts for God's glory. And I don't want to in any way distract or detract from that. But I also believe that there's a broader principle here. God is not just concerned with our spiritual gifts and what we accomplish for Him. A part of the abundant life is enjoying how God crafted each one of us. I believe God wants us to have fun while we're here on earth. If you would allow me to quote from another movie, in Chariots of Fire, Eric Liddell explains, I believe God made me for a purpose, but He also made me fast. And when I run, I feel His pleasure. A key ingredient to the abundant life is recognizing God in the midst of it. When I hunt, I am aware of God and I feel His pleasure. When and where do you encounter God? How do you experience His pleasure?